kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Well, I'm going.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Kick and Make Up MMA show.
I think it's working.
All right,
Might as well just keep going.
just keep rolling with it.
Yeah, why not?
All right, welcome everybody officially again to the Kick and Make Up MMA show, your show with all the latest and greatest in MMA news of the week. I'm your host, the American Hybrid, Nick Cunningham. With me as always, Jeremy JD Dorsey. What's up, man? Did you get your fix of MMA this weekend?
Oh, big time, man. I mean, we kind of said that it was going to be a big week, especially with news going on outside of everything that happened inside the octagon. But it's been a very eventful week, so we got a big jam-packed show for everybody to check out this week.
Yeah, we were talking this weekend too, man. Very excited for this show just because, like you said, so much did go on this weekend in MMA. So we are going to break it down like we usually do about this time, and let me let you guys know how we do it and get some of the particulars out of the way first. You are watching the Kick and Make Up show. You are watching it probably on Ustream or wherever else you're listening to. I just plugged that in real quick. You can also visit us and see all the archive show. This is the 4th episode, so if you want to see the first 3, go to Kick and Make Up, www.kickandmakeup.com. You can see our shows there. We've got some of the... We should give a shout out right now to the Ola America Studios, Ola American newspaper that I've worked for about 8 years now. We are taping from the studio today, so you can also on our website go and see some of the archived articles I've written in the past few years covering anything and everything in MMA.
It's all there.
Also, you can go to our Facebook page. Just go to the search bar, type in Kick and Make Up, request to be in the group. We click you in. We talk a lot throughout the week, ask questions, do polls, surveys, just anything and everything. You guys definitely want to get involved with that, as we actually, for most of the shows, do live updates. And I know soon we're probably going to another UFC, so it'll be definitely good to be in the group for that, as we can give live cage side updates. And also, if you are a fan of the bird and not the book, you can go on Twitter and add us on there at Kick and Make Up or at Hybrid MMA, which is mine. And we've been trying to get that up and going, do some more tweets. So, you always see different people. That some weeks are with Facebook, some weeks are with Twitter. So do them both and then just kind of go back and forth, see which ones you like. So now that we've got that out of the way, let me explain to you on how the show works. We do it in 3 segments. We do the high kick, which is the best thing going on in the week in MMA. We do the low kick, which is the worst thing going on in MMA. And then we also have our newly titled That's Some Bullkick rant. Let me say That's Some Bullkick.
Yes.
Do that for our rant, and we talk about just the crap, weird stuff, outside the box things that's going on in MMA for that week, and we get to just let it all out. And I know last week it was newly named, and I think it got some...
It's sticking.
Yes, I like it. We also put the poll on there on Facebook and see if you guys like the poll, or see if you guys like the name. And we'll probably do that again this week for another question, just to see what's going on. So, with that being said, we'll just roll right into the high kick of the week.
That'll work.
The high kick of the week this week goes to Johnny Hendricks for finally getting a shot at George St. Pierre at UFC 167 in November. This is also UFC's 20th anniversary show.
How long has this been in the works?
This is like a year and a half, maybe even 2 years in the works. He's been the #1 contender for quite a while, and they were just going back and forth with Diaz and Condit. I mean, Diaz snuck in there, and that took about 6 months away from Hendricks. Condit was injured, blah blah blah. I mean, this fight should have went on about 2 years ago, and I'm glad it's finally going on. UFC 167. Probably going to be the first time in quite a while that George St. Pierre fights in Vegas and not in Montreal. And, I kind of have my theories on why. What do you think about this fight going on and just anything with it, man?
It's one of those ones that the fans have been dying to have for so long, and especially after Hendricks' last fight. It's sort of, I always get nervous, like whenever you have a fight that you want to see, and then it sort of takes forever to come to fruition, because if you have one of or either of those fighters have a bad loss or something during that time period, or for whatever reason they lose their steam, lose their mojo somehow, some way, you end up with not having the fight because then it isn't bankable, it isn't marketable. Right. But both of these guys have been able to keep their edges and win their fights. So we're finally going to see it. And if there was one fight that I could probably I would love to see in person, it would be that one, because it's everything you can want. I'm guessing GSP is going to try to stay away from Hendricks strikes as usual, but just a clash of styles. Whose style is gonna dominate the fight is the big question mark, and whoever can do that is probably gonna win.
Right. There's a lot that goes with this storyline too, and even as you said, when you wait, the anticipation. I'm very nervous as this fight's in November and we're in June right now. There's a lot that can go on. And the way that GSP trains, I mean, he does everything to train for his fights. Gymnastics and track and just so many outside-the-box things that if this fight ends up going on in November without any injuries or any weird things, I'll be very surprised. But I just have that weird feeling in the back of my head that something's going to go on before November and this fight's not going to happen.
The kick and makeup jinx right there.
Sorry.
If it messes up, blame Nick
Cunningham.
Blame me,
whatever, man. It's
please.
November. It's so long away. Like, I wish this fight could happen sooner, but I mean, I understand that everything else is going on. It's very busy in the UFC. But like you said, we've got GSP, which is the best, oddly enough, the best wrestler in MMA that's not a wrestler. And then versus the actual wrestling of Johnny Hendricks, who is a wrestler. So you're going to have that clash is going to be awesome. St. Pierre isn't the hardest striker in the world, but he's one of the most creative, I think, angles and things like that, weird angles and everything. So it's just a good fight to happen. I've been waiting for this one to see it. Even how we said that, Diaz kind of snuck in there. And I wanted to say, too, that the reason why I think that GSP is they're going to have this in Vegas is because there was some controversy last time with Diaz versus GSP, where the weight, they let GSP go over in weight.
Right.
And there was all that controversy. I don't know if you guys remember where they, right before the weigh-ins, they went to Nick Diaz.
Very last minute.
Yeah, I mean, even when, literally minutes before Diaz weighed in and says, hey, if you weigh in, decimals over 170, you're fine. Like 170.2, you're fine. Which isn't the case ever, because if you go over, you're over, even decimals. It's over is over. So it's no longer a title fight. So GSP was 170.5. He's overweight. It's no longer a title fight. GSP owes part of his purse to Diaz, and it no longer is a 5-round fight. Usually it goes to a 3-round. So, yeah, and there was emails and texts and all these things from even the UFC offices that something weird was going on. The Canadian Commission was also in on it. So I'm not surprised at all that this fight is happening in Vegas. That'll take care of any of that hometown advantage.
Right.
And like I said, you could sell this fight. You could have this in a cave, and people would come out and watch it. So, very excited. Hope I didn't jinx it.
You did. I mean, claim it. If it happens, you just look better as an analyst.
Yeah, I guess it's like a win-loss, win-win-win-loss, loss-loss situation. My psychic X-Men abilities are perfect, but we don't get to watch this fight. So, no, it's just going to be fun right now to have another fight. I know Silva and Weidman is another one coming up that everybody's excited for, but I just think this one's got more star power to it. The anticipation's been there for years. It's just like we need this fight to happen.
I do too, and it's one of those fights, like you said, that people have been clamoring for a long time. And like we said on one of the previous shows, it's finally happening, and it's one thing that I can say about the UFC, that in general, the fights that the people want to see will occur. And then, it's not a situation where you have both of these guys, out of their prime,
right,
or like 3 years too late or something like that,
right,
like you might have with in boxing with the Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao,
right,
fighting. It'll be past both of their primes if they ever get into the ring together. So
exactly.
That's one of the big things that I really like about MMA, that they really do push to to put the best fights on most of the time. Most of the time.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna get to that later about all that UFC picking the fights and things like that. But you are right; like they do give the fans what they want to see, which is awesome. We're fans first, obviously, so we like watching that. We're also gonna do a poll for the high kick of the week. Are you guys how excited are you guys? Scale of 1 to 10 to see this fight. Is there anybody else that you think should be in there and they should sneak in or whatever? I don't think so. I think this is number 1 and 2, and this needs to happen. So we'll also throw that. Make sure you guys check out the Kick and Makeup Facebook page and see all the polls that we're going to put up later today or early tomorrow. So with that, like I said, here's our to the low kick. I just kicked under the table. Our low kick of the week. It's a shared trophy again. So it's kind of like the partial supervision. Somebody can have it on the weekend and then give it to that person during the week. The low kicks of the week go to Roy Nelson for your loss against Stipe Miocic. Yep. And also John Fitch for your loss to Josh Burkman on World Series of Fighting. Let's just start with John Fitch, because we kind of went out on a limb last week, gave him a lot of love, and within under a minute, we just kind of...
He was sleeping.
Yeah, he was sleeping. We collected our words, put him in a nice little burger, and ate it, and waited for him to wake up.
Yep.
So let me take you guys and let you guys know, let us let you guys know what happened on World Series of Fighting main event this weekend on Friday night. John Fitch looked great walking out, mean, scary again, the shaved head, mohawk with the beard, and just eating the mouth guard and looking scary, pacing around. And Josh Burkman, he's getting some new steam to his career apparently now, which is true. World Series of Fighting has done wonders for him. So the fight starts off, and Fitch kind of abandons what he's been known to do and for his takedowns, and just kind of tries to have a stand-up game a little bit, almost like a rock'em sock'em real early on with Josh Burkman. He gets caught with the short little uppercut, which dropped him, and he does kind of go in and shoot, but, for a wrestler, it looked like to me he shot with his head down, which you don't do, and Burkman locked up the guillotine very tight and rolled it over. And that was it. That was a wrap. And does the walk away too. Yeah. So then just does that, rolls him over, stands up, and then walks away. And he's out cold. Steve Mazzagatti got a lot of crap for not watching the body. And I was watching it too. It's so fast, but you do see once the leg goes kind of down, he's out. But Mazzagatti's been talked to about that before of not being aware. But man, way to blow a big opportunity. And I know it's MMA and anything can happen, but I don't know, man. If you're known, John Fitch, for grinding it out, doing that, why would you go in and just try to slug it out early on? I don't know.
I don't know. It's one of those situations where I think people sort of overthink. This guy's expecting me to do this, so I'm going to come and do this instead. And it's one of the knocks that people give GSP all the time, is that he does the same thing. If you're successful doing the same thing, why not keep doing it? It's like, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to change things up just to change them up, or just because you hear people talking or chirping in the background saying that, you do this every fight. If you're doing it and you're winning and nobody can stop it, why would you ever change it? And I just think he kind of overthought it, and it made him look bad, made us look a little bad, with our prediction. But hey, that's what we do. But
it is, and it's just got a huge domino effect with World Series of Fighting too. They really banked a whole lot on this main event fight to kind of bring them up. The World Series of Fighting 4, the owner of it's going to be fighting Ray Sefo, which is a terrible idea. We'll talk about that later. It'd be like Dana White taking a fight in his own organization. That's just, the legitimacy of your organization just goes down the toilet once the owner's fighting. And he's a great fighter also. If you're watching, you're awesome, but that's really weird to fight in your own organization. Right. So I would say this one's gonna have more star power draw than that even is gonna have, unless they pick somebody else or draft somebody else. And like to go with yours too, yeah, don't change it if it's good, but if you are gonna change it, at least get your first fight out of the way in the organization. Do what you do, run through the guy or grind out a win, get 1 or 2 wins under your belt, and then try to mix up a little bit. Don't do it your first minute of your first debut in the organization, because now what I mean, he's still a huge name, but now what do you coming off a loss, or 2 losses actually? Now what do you do? Like, what do you do with John Fitch now? I mean, he's gonna just kind of go down in their ladder. There's not a whole lot of star power in World Series of Fighting, big names I should say, that are gonna be clamoring. That he's going to be wanting to fight. I'm sure everybody's going to want to fight him, to build their name up. But it just it's a weird spot for World Series of Fighting and for John Fitch right now. So that's why he is half winner of the low kick this week. The other winner, like we said, is Roy Nelson in his loss to Stipe Miocic this weekend at UFC 161 in the co-main event. I actually did an article for All America, which came out today, talking a little bit about that. And I'll just say again, like, Roy, your job this weekend was to go out and win like you usually do, and I'm pretty sure you were like guaranteed a title shot. Like this wasn't an official title contention shot, because I don't think they were going to give it to Stipe Miocic if you won against the winner of JDS or Cain Velasquez. But I feel like they might have given it to Roy Nelson had he done his overhand right and knocked him out. And God, man, he looked slow and tired, and just it wasn't. I don't know. What do you think, man, when you're watching that?
That was my biggest thing when I was watching it. And I'm a big guy too, and he's never been a small guy. His conditioning looked horrible. I mean, like he took a few shots, but I mean, once you got into the second round, he was looking gassed. And I mean, like you can't show up. I don't think you can show up to an event like that and with that much riding on the line and be completely gassed by the second round with nothing left in the tank, and it's then third round comes around and he's sort of flailing shots, and it just looked bad. It looked bad, and it's kind of sad because that's another one of our predictions down the drain. But Miocic, I'm going to go
Miocic,
with that.
I like that. I'm probably right. Miocic.
Okay. I'm going to go with that. But, I was very impressed with him. I mean, his conditioning was never a problem. And he was landing shots. I mean, he caught him with a nasty, overhand right about midway through the first that staggered Nelson. And it was pretty much a wrap from that point on. Nelson didn't have anything to tank to come back from that. And, he was able to, pretty much grind him down to a paste by the time the end of the fight was over.
And we're past the point and now of even seeing fighters like Roy Nelson, which when we first got started in the MMA, there was all Roy Nelsons everywhere. And that's what you did. You went in there with your big gut and you just swung some haymakers and you hoped something. And hey, all power to Roy. That's what he's been doing. But at some point you need and he's been criticized for this too, like he needs to take his weight and cardio more seriously. He could be such a better fighter. You do well with looking like that. You tweak it a little bit, and that's been a big thing. And so it just was like night and day watching Miocic and Nelson on Saturday. But let me go, before we keep talking, let me have you introduce our new segment too that we're gonna have. And then we can continue on this fight and this conversation.
Yeah, got a new segment. I guess you wouldn't really call it a segment, but it'll just be something that we refer to as, instead of feedback, we have kickback. So on our Facebook group page, we were fortunate enough to have some people give us some kickback about this fight. And we had, I'm going to read off my phone, but we had Mid-American MMA who was on the page and said, I'll have you answer this question, with Stipe Miocic 4-1 in UFC, winning over a seemingly invincible Roy Nelson, what's next?
Well, I will say for Stipe, his competition's got to be somebody in the top 5. Now, with Verdun winning, maybe those two fight now. 4-1, that's a pretty good record. He did in beating Roy Nelson jumped him up higher, so I could see them doing a Verdum Miocic, for a title, maybe for a title contention shot. Now I will say too that we'll go to the next one too with Josh Weissung. He also chimed in and letting us know, which was that this was the last fight for Roy Nelson in the UFC, which makes me think, why didn't you like go have the craziest, hardest training camp of your life? If this was your last fight in the UFC, I would be eating nothing but grass-fed nutrients and supplements and running and do like I'd come out crazy my last fight. But so now it's the UFC's choice what to do with Nelson. I feel like they're gonna sign him again. I know he's had bad blood with Dana White, and he's very outspoken, but I just think that they're gonna sign him again for another 3-fight contract. He still brings in a lot of viewers. Still fun to watch. I don't know, had a good record going before this too. So, and really, if you're Roy, where else? Unless you're gonna retire, are you gonna go to Bellator too? Or where are you gonna go? I mean, UFC is, if you can stay in UFC, stay. If you can't, then that's when you need to. But I feel like they'll renew him one more time. And even with the heavyweight division, I was thinking about this earlier today. You never know what's going to happen with them. It's so weird. Brock Lesnar could come back tomorrow, and he could get a top 5 contender. I wouldn't be surprised one bit, because it's about what brings in the doll hairs too, and Roy Nelson does, and everybody else. So what's going to happen with Roy, and Stipe is definitely, like I said, going to get a top 5 contender for his next fight, and
we'll go from there. So that's the low kick, man. Thank you guys for the kickback. Yeah, and big shout out to Josh Weissung. I didn't exactly get to read his comment, but he definitely, chimed in too. So make sure that you guys get on the page, drop us that kickback whenever you get an opportunity to, and we will definitely address it on the show. Big shout out to Jason Vargas too. He hit me up. Wasn't able to get his question in on time, but we'll be sure that if he sends in something else, or anybody else sends in something from here on out, we'll get it on the show. So even more incentive to be involved with what we do.
Right, exactly, man. And finally, man, my favorite segment, favorite segment of the day. That's Some Bullkick. That is Some Bullkick, and we've got a good one for this week. Oh, Anthony Pettis. That's some bullkick that you are trying to steal the spotlight and the title fight from poor TJ Grant against Benson Henderson for the Milwaukee show, UFC 164 in Milwaukee, Harley Davidson, hometown throwdown. Not cool, man. That's some bullkick. Anthony Pettis. Think about that.
I don't think it's bullkick.
Woo! Okay.
Not bullkick.
Let me hear.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Pettis is from the Milwaukee area, right?
Yes, he is.
I can understand completely why he would come to, Dana White and say, hey, let me do this. This is my hometown. How you gonna let somebody else come in my territory? See, I'm thinking about, like a dominant sort of thing. This is my area. If this is my area, I don't want somebody else coming in and, reigning over my area, especially when it's not like Pettis isn't a draw.
Right.
It's not like he isn't a superstar. It's not like he isn't one of the best in his division, a top 10, pound for pound in the UFC. So I can completely understand why he would want to come and say, I don't want you to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to put me on because this is my hometown. These are my fans. These are my people. So why not? Why not?
All right. Let me tell you why this will ruin MMA if this fight happens. Now, let me tell you, I was amazed like everybody else with the Showtime kick of their last fight in the WEC. This is a fight, too, that I've been waiting to see the rematch in UFC. Those two. Pettis should have got this fight a long time ago, but he got hurt, so he had to pull out, and that's when somebody else, I forgot who fought Benson. So this was he was due this fight like 2 years ago, But when he beat Cerrone at in Chicago, everybody told him, and then he said like was going to drop down and fight Aldo at 145. He got too greedy. He wanted the title fight because he didn't know what was going on in the lightweight division. Everybody told him, no, don't do that. Be patient. You will get your title shot. He said, no, I want it now. So I'm going to drop down to 45 and I'm going to fight Aldo for the title. Well, now Aldo got hurt. So now that Aldo got hurt, he's like, oh, well, now I'm going to go back. You can't do that. And so if you jump like that and UFC lets you do that, we're boxing. MMA's boxing. We're picking fights of who wants, who's marked. I get the doll hair. I like saying doll hairs. I get the almighty dollar. I see that, but you've got to keep with who's number one contender right now. TJ Grant is the number one contender. Whether and I don't even know whether he's from Saskatchewan or he's from Canada somewhere. It's not Milwaukee. It's something like that. His town. And I'm not being disrespectful. It's just something with an S in Canada. And I get the Milwaukee draw and all that stuff too. But that's why people told you don't drop down and be greedy, because this happened. Wants to see this fight more, but this is their fight. And Pettis doing that, I don't know, man. That's dirty. Like I get it. I can't say that I wouldn't do the same thing if I was from Milwaukee and this was going on too. But if there was a show called Kick and Make Up and two guys like us were giving me that's some bull kick for doing it, I'd understand. So don't be mad that we're giving you that's some bull kick. I'm saying that's some bull kick. I can see this happening though. Like I can see this happening. Yep. And like I said, we're hopefully going to go to it and cover it. Right. And I guarantee Pettis and Henderson fights has the storyline there. It's going to sell more. It's going to sell out. It's going to bring in more viewers. But it's just not the fair fight that should happen right now.
Right. And just to give you another counterpoint, if and you kind of alluded to it, but if you were, in his position and this is happening, and the UFC and fighting in general is just something where it's a blood sport. It's a sport where your time is very short, and I can completely understand him trying to go after this and have this opportunity to do something in his hometown and in front of his home fans, because man, he could do anything, and the next. It's not guaranteed that by this time next year, if they go back to Milwaukee, he's going to be where he's at right now. Exactly. So I completely, man, you got to go for it when you get an opportunity to. You got to take it. You got to take whatever you can get whenever you can get it. So I'm completely behind him in this push. I'm a big Henderson fan though too. So I'm kind of torn on it, but I can definitely understand. Showtime's reasoning for doing what he's doing. Yeah,
I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on you are too with updates, because even in late June, the fight's in 2 months. I mean, it is 8 weeks away, being late August. Mm-hmm. So we've got to get something going now. I feel like this week, early next week, we're gonna find a concrete answer of what's going on with this. So we will definitely keep you guys up to date too with all that stuff going on with this. This is a huge story. And like I said, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see either one of these guys fight, honestly. So whatever happens, I'm gonna enjoy both TJ Grant versus Henderson or Pettis versus Henderson.
Got a great idea of us going down to his camp and checking him out while he's there. So, we're gonna be in the area hopefully, and we'll be able to bring you some Kick and Make Up exclusives, time exclusives.
August. I mean, I love my fight banner and everything. I was walking with it today and missing everything, all the memories with it. But I hope in August that me and you are sitting with Rufus Sport behind us.
Yes,
man, that's gonna be awesome. Yes. I feel like that's gonna be a 99% possibility that we're gonna be there in August. So, like I said, thank you guys for watching the show. Keep watching it, please, with us as we are trying to get mobile, get around where we can. And like I said, that's something we said a couple weeks ago too. If you're watching this, get a hold of us on the Facebook page. Get a hold of us. Email. email the show at kickandmakeup@gmail.com, or get us on Twitter at kickandmakeup. Get at me at Hybrid MMA, and let us know where your gyms are at, who's fighting. We'll come to you guys and do our show from there. If I guarantee there's a stud fighting somewhere right now that we have no idea. 2 hours that way, 2 hours west, an hour east, somewhere. We'll get there if we can, and we'll give him his due rights, and that's what this show is all about. And that's why me and you love doing what we do, because this sport, there's so many people and so much going on that with your guys' support, we can keep this going and do what we do. So lots to talk about next week. I know there's something, we're kind of on an off week of sports right now, but we'll definitely have some topics. If you guys have anything that we want to talk about, or that you want us to talk about, hit us up on all those avenues like we said, and we'll see you guys back here next week. This is the American Hybrid, Nick Cunningham, Jeremy J.D. Dorsey. Remember, don't solve it in the streets, take it to the cage, and kick and make up. See you next week.